Just when you thought that you couldn't be any more dyslexic and dumb about it, I took this microphone and anyway, it's the Mortals. Welcome to another podcast episode of the Mortals. Hopefully it makes you think and feel and question maybe just a few things about life, death, and other mysteries. I don't know where I heard that, but I feel like my friend Dallas and I used to sing that when we were on the road. I'm Nathan. I am happy that you're here because you could be anywhere doing anything this very moment. A couple weeks ago, we experienced that little blip on the radar, which was one of the platforms just going kaput. And then it was just this weirdo April Fool's, guys, just kidding, until Sunday, the next day when they flipped the switch back on. All that to say, we only have so much control over things in life, especially a big social media platform that is TikTok. Nathan Morris Music is where you can follow me, but honor where you've been and where you came from, right? But obviously prepare for, and that's what we did with the Mortals. It's exclusive. It's an exclusive community. First looks, first listens. I just dropped a song. This song is my first time creating from start to finish the demo. I've written lyrics. I've come up with melodies. I collaborate very well with those I work with and write with. And by the way, arguably one of the most intimate things you can do, which is to write a song with someone. And I did this at 12:40 a.m. on Sunday. I wrote the lyrics. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to just dive in. And I did. I created everything. Now, it's a demo, but I did it. And I just dropped it for the Mortals. Obviously, specific tiers, and they're different to choose from, the ones that are available. I would love for you to check it out. First looks, first listens, and the curators and the legacy tiers just got that. It is a song called Who I Didn't Become. I would love for you to join, just so the next time they flip the switch off, it's like, okay, well, we'll just be over here. I also had someone send me a pretty frustrated message. I get them a lot, actually, like, you left me on red, or I can't respond to everyone on all the platforms, but the Mortals, absolutely. Thank you for your support. You are my label. You haven't a clue what your showing up for me means to me, because you could be doing anything, anywhere, spending your hard-earned money on other things. And so please know that not for a moment I don't recognize that. Appreciate you. And this is, again, the coldest studio in the United States of America. Does the color picture look a lot better because I've been messing with the aperture and the ISO? I don't know what I did wrong, but I do know that it's episode 223 of a show which pulls back the curtain, takes down walls brick by brick, and exposes the hearts of those caring for those you love most. Let's roll. I feel really bad for the child me. And you probably experienced this too at some point. Maybe you still do, but going back to the song that I created the demo for, that I posted for the Mortals, I have never wanted to do things if I'm not good at it. And obviously you come out of your mother's womb with a six-pack and really good at shot put. I don't remember, but I'm sure it was terrifying being a kid and trying new things. If I wasn't good at it, I didn't want to do it. And I was pretty good, above average at most all things that I did as a kid. I can draw, I can sing, I was athletic. I wasn't the best ball handler in basketball or soccer, for instance, but I had speed and I was a defender. Golf, I suck so bad at it, I get this visceral anxiety thinking about even trying to swing a club. It's not even fun sounding to me. It's not, because I'm not good at it. And that's what creating the song, the demo of, has been. I mean, I know how to get around Logic and I know how to do my vocals. Obviously, I comp all my vocals, and comping is this process, intricate process. Phineas and Billie Eilish did a really good job of saying, hey, Billie can sing really, really well. I mean, very well, in fact. But she's like, yeah, I use comps, because you're taking just all of the the intricacies of a vocal, because that song that is forever out there is the forever representation of the song that you perform live and that people talk about forever and always. So it's got to be right. And I get it. I love that she was so open about it, because it used to be this thing where we don't comp vocal. Well, I don't know if people did that, but I feel like they did. I feel like it was a secret because everyone sings so perfect. But even Charlie Puth was like, yeah, I only do auto-tune. But I can comp, and then I would send my vocal to Kayla and she would produce it. And so I made the decision, I'm going to do this. And it felt like for a long time, yesterday, Sunday, was this golfing moment. I was like, ugh. So I was in my head a lot. I mean, I was even hesitating or delaying getting in the studio to work on it. It was really ridiculous, but I'm very proud of it. I can't believe that I overcame that. I slayed that dragon, my friend. It's so exciting. It really is. And another thing that's been on my mind is I realize how much I devalue myself. And I know you do too. We talk about it. I've talked about it numerous times in videos. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. And here I am doing it. Like my course, Director OS, it's like I built it over 18 months, and it's literally everything that I know for a fact to work in the funeral profession, in the sense of creating exceptional experiences and elevating care. It's invaluable. I know it works. I've learned from a ton of people, and I have been scared. It's so weird. I've been scared. That's the right word. Scared to get it out to the masses and promote it and say, here it is. It's available to you. There's value in this. It is a product that is for sale, Director OS. I'll link it in the description and show notes because I'm making myself share Director OS. It is, we buy things and invest in things that level us up or that we love. Clothes, or maybe it's a course like this. There's no reason I should be nervous and devalue myself, because I know what works in this field and profession, and we've won awards for it. And I know that what I have to offer is valuable. Needless to say, if you are devaluing yourself, halt. Who goes there? Not an insecure you. Just stop doing it. Nathan, stop doing it as well. Just stop. Just stop. That's what's going on. It's a lot of really good stuff. Anyway, let's talk about some trending topics. What about the rise of AI-generated obituaries? Did you know that you can do this? You can do this. Funeral homes are finally experimenting with AI to craft life stories. But do you think it loses the human touch? And I'm going to say no. I'm going to say play your strengths, my friend. If you are a horrible writer and you're the funeral director with a license sitting in the arrangement room, why would they put you with the pen and paper to write the obituary? Because they're going to take your lead. Mom was here. Mom ran home. Mom died after doing that. Hole dug, cemetery. It makes sense. There have been people that have created AI. So there's the human touch. It's been really cool because you can train your, it sounds so insane. It's like a dog. I talk to my AI, typing to them, and I'm asking them nicely, please and thank you. I guess it's good practice for when you are interacting with real humans to just, if you're anyway, back to the AI obituaries. What are your thoughts on that? And obviously, whatever device you're listening on, whatever platform it is, or be sure to leave a positive review. I would be very appreciative. And follow this podcast. Put it in your faves, my friend. That'd be really neat. You're telling the algorithm, I like this guy. And what about the haunted locations that are making a comeback? Shows, movies, they like feature haunted sites. There's a bunch on HBO Max right now. It's like the Haunted Woods and the Sasquatch Diary. I don't know if it's called Sasquatch Diaries, but that would be really, what if we found a diary of a well, that Sasquatch probably doesn't write in English, but there are some really good Sasquatch shows. And I know this isn't a podcast that's about Sasquatch so much, but there's some I'm a believer. I just think that this world is far too big and there's far too many creatures that have still gone undiscovered for a long time. We're discovering new stuff all the time. Why do we not believe in a big, monstrous man, bear, gorilla thing? I don't know. But there's a bunch of shows that are around haunted locations and haunted this and haunted that. And we bought a haunted farm or funeral home. And I don't know what your thoughts are, but if I know you all, you all are probably here for it for sure. Oh, and why are people becoming obsessed with loungewear? I just signed on with a new company. I'll be representing their brand. More on that soon. I'll let the mortals know first and foremost. So if you want to know about it, you can most certainly join. I'll link that in the show notes. But the comfort clothing thing is big. You remember way back in my day, when I don't know if I was in high school or what, but the Juicy, like the girls had those, I thought they were so stupid. So this is, I guess it's back. The whole sweats and the sweatshirt and the sweatpants. Never ever will you see me out in public with sweatpants. Unless I'm on tour and there's the bus stops and I'm in my sweats, because obviously it's a rolling house for when you're on tour and you go to the truck stop and you see me out. That was very long-winded to say. The thought of just being out and about, in some sweats, it's not my thing. What are your thoughts on some sweats? Do you got your go-tos? You got your go-tos? Yeah, what the hell am I talking about? So AI obituaries. I'm all for it. Haunted places and shows, cool, bro. Cool. And then, of course, your Juicy Couture is back for sure, but not Juicy. Maybe Juicy is still here. What about the random facts? Let's talk about those. We didn't do them last week, but we're going to do them this week. So you pull your seat up, get all snug as a bug in a rug. Did you know funeral bells and the superstition around it? Obviously, people used to have this visceral fear of being buried alive. And if you didn't know that, people capitalized like crazy, because when people, thought people were dead, they used to use just like a mirror under the nose. And if it didn't fog up, they're like, oh, they're dead. It's like, no. And there are documented accounts of people being buried alive, which is scary to think about. And anyway, people would create these boxes, caskets that had strings and the bells. And it was during the Victorian era. So in the 1800s, coffins were designed with a bell system. And that was in case someone was actually buried alive, hence the phrase saved by the bell, which is interesting because Zach Morris, my brother, it wasn't just about, what's the school? I don't know. It's fine. What about the next random fact? Is there are AI ghost hunters. There are paranormal investigators who are using AI now to detect patterns in ghostly activity. Jeremy, are you on this? Have you done any of this stuff? You can download an app, which I don't know, that's not so much AI, but AI is taking over. That's a random fact for sure, but there's a lot of really cool stuff. And maybe you don't like it. Maybe you're like, I don't care about AI. You should learn it. There's a lot of things that are going to be available and that are constantly coming out. But if you want to ghost hunt, a random fact is that you can maybe have a better shot of catching a ghost if you get some AI ghost hunter equipment. What about some sweatpants and dopamine is your third fact. Studies suggest that wearing comfortable clothing releases dopamine, similar to eating your favorite comfort food. Now, if you are like me and don't want to be seen with your favorite comfy clothes, it reminds me of someone just rolling out of bed. I mean, it can be sexy, don't get me wrong. But read the room, bro. And you and I both know there are situations where you've gone to that place that has this, it's just stereotypical to have some unique outfits. And you see a plenty of sweatpants that shouldn't be on. Anyway, I'm not judging. Yes, I am. I am judging. Okay, that is your 3 random facts and well, 2 random facts and one more of a judgment. Shame on me. Shame. Before we get into our ghostly hunting, that's not what we're getting into, but we are going to talk about ghost stories. I can't wait to get on tour. It's the thing. It's like the magnet that just keeps pulling me toward it. And I can't even articulate it. I just want to connect with. And speaking of, we're going to be going live from the living room again soon. The performance from a few months ago was a huge hit and success. And because of that, we're kind of leveling up. When I say we leveling up, we are going to be going bigger this time. It was more of a rehearsal for the first live from the living room. I wanted to get the show and the set and kind of let everyone who wanted to tune in. 1,038 people watched and showed up, which is crazy to think about because if you're on tour, you're playing 500 seat venues or 500 head venues, whatever. And that's a huge room. And to have 1,000 people tuning in was awesome. And I want you to know that we're going to be going live again. I'll be announcing that very, very soon. Live from the living room. I can't wait. And we've got some surprises in store for you. I've been rehearsing and practicing, and I think that's important to always be honing in on your craft. And I can't wait for that. I can't wait for the new single to drop, Waves. I'll be announcing the release date for that soon. But without further ado, let's dive into some ghostly ghosting. Speaking of, I was trying to reach out to and shoot my shot with Visa for a brand deal, and they were over here just like flirting with me, and then they left me on red. Visa, if you're listening, how dare you? This episode and every podcast episode is brought to you by Descript. If you represent a brand, a business, a product of any kind, a service, then you need to be having a podcast. People love what you offer, and they will find you, and you will find them. Well, I don't know how to do a podcast. Well, you don't have to. Descript does. Like, for instance, the studio sound. You don't have to have incredible equipment like this, or you don't have to have all of the fancy know-how. It's a matter of just utilizing the platform. They make you look great. There's transcription-based editing. There's also AI, eye contact. If you can't think off the top of your head and you have to read from a prompter, you can look off here, but it's pretty cool, and I'll link it in the description. Descript will make you look and sound professional until, in fact, you are. But you need to show up. You need to offer it. A podcast. Okay. A funeral that reunited a family. Have you ever been to a funeral where the tension in the room is thicker than the grief? Like, where people, they're not just mourning the person that's in the casket, but also the time lost, the words left unsaid, the relationships that crumbled before they ever had a chance to heal. This is the story of 2 brothers, Michael and James. They hadn't spoken in 25 years. And if not for their mother's funeral, they probably never would have again. The feud that broke them apart. You see, Michael and James grew up inseparable. One was always finishing the other's sentences, always getting into trouble together, always knowing, no matter what, they had each other's backs. And then life happened. One misunderstanding. One bitter argument over something that doesn't even matter anymore. And just like that, years go by. Not a single word. Both of them built separate lives, separate families, separate traditions, but they shared one thing. They both loved their mom. And when she passed, neither of them could ignore that fact. So for the first time in 2.5 decades, they found themselves standing in the same room again. The funeral home was quiet, except for the soft hum of conversation. and the occasional sniffle, the rustling of tissues. Their mother laid there, peaceful, unaware of the decades of pain standing just a few feet away from her casket. Michael was at the front of the room, eyes locked on her face, lost in thought. James stayed by the door, arms crossed, shifting uncomfortably from left to right. He wasn't sure if he belonged there or where anymore. He had convinced himself for years that his brother wouldn't even care if he showed up. But as the service ended, Michael turned around, his eyes scanning the room, and for the first time in 25 years, their eyes met. For just a moment, neither of them moved. Then, Michael nodded. It wasn't an invitation. It wasn't forgiveness. But it was something. And James took that as his chance. He walked up slowly, hesitantly, stood next to his brother. For a long time, they just stared at their mother. And then, barely above a whisper, Michael said, "She'd hate this, you know." James let out a breath, half a laugh, half a sigh. Yeah, yeah, she would. There was a pause. Then Michael asked the question that had been hanging around between both of them for over 2 decades. Why'd you never call? James swallowed hard and looked at his shoes and said, "Why didn't you?" And that's when it hit them. Neither of them had wanted this silence. Neither of them had meant for 25 years to slip away. But pride is a hell of a thing. It'll keep you from what you think is broken beyond repair. It'll convince you that you're better off staying angry, even when deep down you know that's a lie. Now at the cemetery, as the casket was lowered, Michael and James stood side by side. And for the first time in years, they talked. Not about the past, not about the fight, but about her. The way she used to hum when she cooked dinner, the way she left little notes around the house telling the boys to have a good day, to be kind, to not forget their lunch. The way she used to make them hold hands when they were little kids and tell them, no matter what happens, you boys always stick together. And standing there, watching their mother's casket be lowered and her laid to rest, they realized something. They had been waiting for the other person to make the first move for 25 years. And in the end, it took a death to remind them that life is just too damn short. How many of us right now are waiting? Waiting for an apology that may never come. Waiting for a sign to reach out to someone before it's too late. Waiting for just the right moment, as if we aren't running out of moments every single day of our lives. So let me ask you, if you knew today was your last day, what unfinished conversation would you regret not having? And more importantly, what's stopping you from having it now? If that hit you in the gut, do something about it. If it made you think of someone, reach out to them. And if you need a space to reflect on these things, that's what the Mortals is all about. Because at the end of the day, Life's too short for unfinished conversations. That's a spooky story because the thought of going a life without someone that I love just because? That's scary. Time's unreplenishable. Do good with it. Be good to it. Be good to self. I like these reflective stories. The ones that put you back in your seat a little bit. If this made you think, I'd love for you to share this podcast. If it made you feel something, tell somebody. And if you've got some unfinished conversations, maybe today's the day, my friend. We're talking about real stories here, raw, unfiltered, and sometimes a little too real for the public feed. If you want, you know where to go. The Mortals. And for my funeral professional friends, if you want to serve families in a way that truly matters, exceptional, progressive, thought-provoking, a pioneer, a thought leader in the profession, Director OS, it's where we're taking it. The profession is taking it next. So I will link it all in the show notes and description. I'm grateful for you always showing up for me because I assure you that you're loved far more than you can ever know. I'm proud of myself for slaying the dragon that is uncertainty and not being good at something, but doing it anyway without fear or holding back. It's rewarding. If you're not doing what you love, you should be. You need to just quit it. Quit what it is that you aren't. Just pull a Kevin James and Hitch and just scream, I quit. Be sure to follow me on all the socials. YouTube is growing, and I'm grateful for that because of you, and I'm appreciative. This is episode 223 of The Mortals. Leave no stone unturned in life. If you have not spoken to someone that you love in a while because of something, they're probably waiting, and they shouldn't be too, but you can't expect anything from anyone. Do it yourself. All right, stay thirsty, my friends. I will see you at The Mortals, right? Because this is The Mortals. Adios.